Hello everyone, welcome to Pretty Code. Today we are going to see Roman to integer leetcode problem in Swift language. Let's go through the description. Roman numerals are represented by 7 different symbols: I, V, X, L, C, D and M. Here is a detailed description of it. M represents 1000, then D represents 500, C represents C, L is for 50, X is for 10, V is for 5 and I is for 1. For example, 2 is written as double I. In Roman numeral, just two ones added together to represent 2. And 12 is written as X and 2 I's. So if you see, X is for 10 and 2 I's is for 1 and 1, which is simply X plus 2. The number 27, it's better cut out. So the number 27 is represented by X, X, V, 2. The explanation is like 27 means 210 plus, if you break down, V will be 5 and 2 ones are like 1 plus 1. So it is 20. Roman numerals are usually written largest to smallest from left to right. So if you see, the left side is the bigger value and right is the smaller one. However, the numeral for 4 is not 4 i's. So instead the number 4 is represented as like this. So there are few exceptions, which in that case the lower value comes before the higher value. Because the 1 is before the 5, we subtract it, making 4. So what we do is we subtract one value from V and make it 4, make it to represent 4. The same principle applies to number 9. If you see number 9, that is also represented as I and X, right? And which is written as IX. There are 6 instances where subtraction is used. So there are 6 different types of Roman numerals where we go for writing in the format of this one, where the lower value comes before the higher value, representing the one lesser value. For example, if you want to represent 100, it is going to be represented as C, right? But if you want to represent 90, it is going to be represented as XC, because we are going to minus 10 out of 100 and it becomes 90. So this is the case. If you see over here, there are few examples. I can be placed before 5 and 10 to represent 4 and 9. X can be placed before L and C to make it 40 and 90. C can be placed before D and M to make it 400 and 900. So this is how the rule works. Here few very interesting examples are given. So for 3, we simply go and write 3 i's and it represents 3. For 58, if you see, it is like L. So L represents 50, V represents 5, 3 i's represent 3. So it becomes 58. If you see this example, so it is like M, C, M, X, C, I, V. So this is like M is represented for 1000. If you see this value, this is C, but C is occurring before M. C represents 100, M represents 1000. So 1000 minus 100 we would do. So it is actually representing 900. How did we identify? So higher value is after a lower value, so this we are going to minus, so it is representing 900. Same for this one also. If you see XC is representing 90, right? Because C is a representation of 100 and X is a representation of 10, and it is occurring just before 100, so we make it as 90. Same, I is the representation for 1 and v is representation for 5, but 5 is a higher value and it is after 1, so we minus 1 minus 5, so it is like 5 minus 1 and it is representing 4. So if you see, it is 1000 plus 900 plus 90 plus 4, it is representing 1994. So let's go for the example and iteration. Before that, I would like to help you to notice three things. One is like higher values will always be at the beginning. For example, m is 1000, so it has to be in the beginning. Second rule is if any lower value is before higher value, this is 5, this is 1, then we subtract. So what we do, we subtract 1 out of 5, so it represents 4. Third is these are the only values which can occur in our string, so we are going to keep this in a dictionary so that we can use it for the iteration. So let's take a number. Let's take one number where we can minus as well. I'm taking x I v, so it is representing 14, right? So let's take the number 14, which would be represented by x, I and v. So what we do over here is we have result as equals to 0 and p also 0. P is the value representing the previous number. So in case of 4 or 9 and such values, it is going to be useful. And current value will be represented with val. So what I am doing in the iteration, first iteration, the x is the very first value, which is 10. So my val is equals to 10, right? The next thing what we are going to check, if the value 10 is less than equal to the previous value, which is 0. So if you see over here, val which is representing the 10 is less than equal to 0. No, the condition is wrong. So r will be equal to r plus equal to, in this condition, since the condition is wrong, right? So we will do r minus equal to previous value. Previous value is 0. This is 0, right? So we do minus equal to 0. So r is nothing but 0 and p will become current value. So now my p is 10 and r is 0. In the next iteration, what we will do is, since my value is x, I and v, the next iteration, in the next iteration, the value will be equal to 1 because I is representing 1, right? And again we would check the condition if the value is less than equal to previous value. So my previous value is what? P is currently representing 10 and my val, if it is less than equal to p is 10. So it will be like if 1 is less than equal to 10, so it is true, right? So 1 is actually less than equal to 10. So what will happen? R plus equal to, in case of negative scenario we would minus, but in case of positive scenario we would plus. So r plus 1. So we would plus the value. So we would not plus 1. If you see, we are taking one previous value. So what we do? We plus 10. So it will become, r will become 10. Next, now my p will be 1 because p is equals to v is what we are doing as of now. In the next iteration, what we do? We again check val. So my current val is going to be v. It is representing 5. So I am going to check is val less than equal to p. So val is 5 is less than equal to p. P is what? 1. So if you see, it is not, right? So what we are going to do, we will minus this value. So r minus equal to 1. 1 is what? P. So the formula is like r minus equal to p, which will represent my current value of r is 10. So 10 minus 1, which is equal to 9, right? Now what we will do, we will assign my p the current value. Current value is 5. In the next iteration we will go forward. So if you would have noticed, there will be no next iteration because my value is x I v, and we are done with all the values. So loop is broken. Now we are done with the loop. So if you see, this value p is equals to 5 never processed, right? So at the end, once the loop is over, what we do is we assign the value, we just add the value in the current result. So r plus equal to my p. If there is any value in the p, it is going to be added. So my current value of r is equals to 9. So 9 plus equal to 5 is going to give me 14. So this is going to be the solution. Let's solve this problem in LeetCode. So if you see over here, I have already mapped the Roman and Roman values against its integer. So here it is, I is representing 1, v, 5 and so on. So I'm going to take some vars. So p is going to represent the previous value. It is having 0 as of now because loop has not yet started, and I'm going to have a var which is my result r, and it's 0 as of now. Let's iterate through the loop. I in s is my string given from the problem, and we will get val. So let val is equals to dictionary. My dictionary is dict and I. So if you see, for example, if my value is xiv and it is nothing but 14, we saw the iteration, the first value val is going to be x here, and if you see for x it is going to give 10. Next will be like, we would check the condition if my val is less than equal to p. So if it is, so in the shorthand operation I am going to assign this property directly to r. So r plus equal to this value, and we will check if my p is if my val is less than equal to p, and if the condition is true, then it would add directly the value previous value, otherwise it would minus the previous value. This is the condition, and at the end what we do is we just add the previous value, we just assign the previous value the current one. So this is my loop, and in the explanation we saw we need to add the p in the final result. So r is going to be plus equal to p, and we return this r, return the result. So if we are fetching any value from the dictionary, it is an optional, so I'm assigning it a 0 because that is how we are handling the optionals here. Let's submit and see the solution. So it has been accepted. See you in the next video.